Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. We have some segments to get to, not a whole lot. So it's going to be a short episode today. So I just want to do the recap from last night's game and we'll preview today's semifinals. This is day 2 of the semifinals of game 1. So there is, like I said, there's something to get to, not a whole lot. So I'm gonna respect myself. So I just want to get this show started on a really good note, if that's the case. All right, I'm gonna start off with the thriller first, and then a blowout. Let's start with the last night's game in San Antonio, game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. Anthony Edwards returned for he only came off the bench. He did not start, but he came off the bench. He blasted 18 points off the bench, made a couple of threes. But Julius Randle, a starter, led the way with 21 points. Jaden McDaniels was huge as well, 16 points. And Terry Shannon done some decent things, 16 points. Mike Conley, 19-year vet, done some good things as well. 12 points. Ford made 3-pointers. Meanwhile, the Spurs made it interesting down the stretch. Julian Champagnie was looking for a game, try to hit a game-winning 3, but a 3-point game winner was short by the final score. The Wolves defeated the Spurs 104-102, and the Wolves shock game 1 and take 1-0 series lead. So here's my question: what impressed the Wolves the most in a upset game 1 win last night against the Spurs? They held to Victor Wembanyama to 17 points and 8 shot attempts. Victor Wembanyama has more blocks than points. Actually, Victor Wembanyama held Victor Wembanyama just 11 points and 5 for 17 shooting. Not only that, Wembanyama finished 0 for 8 from three-pointer. He did have 15 points and 12 blocks. Victor Wembanyama has more rebounds and blocks combined than total of points. So Wembanyama had 15 blocks and 15 rebounds and 12 blocks. He did have a triple-double, 11 points, 12 blocks, 15 rebounds. We don't see that number very often. We don't see that number very often without recording 10 assists. Or you say, if you record 10 assists, 10 blocks, and 10 points, or 10 rebounds, you could have done it all the cause. But the Minnesota Timberwolves defense was the big story. They held the Spurs to 28% from 3. But there's not a lot of questions you can really ask. You would have thought that Minnesota, they went to the conference finals the last 2 postseasons. Now they're looking for 3 straight. Now they're off to a good start. They're 1-0. And how the Wolves also won the game, they only commit just 10 turnovers. What the Wolves have to do this postseason, they need to take care of the basketball. The Wolves are 5-2 this postseason, so they need to take care of the basketball, and they have done a good job doing that. Their defense has done a good job in this playoffs. The Wolves are 3-0 or 3-1 in clutch situations in this playoffs. The Spurs are 0-2 in the play 0-2 in this situation in this postseason in the clutch games. After the Spurs have been one of the best in the NBA in that department so far, 0-2 in clutch games in the playoffs. So how the Spurs could, why the Spurs struggled offensively in last night's defeat. The 3-point shooting didn't go down last night. Some ticky-tack fouls. Stephen Castle fouled out last night, by the way. Vassell had 4 fouls. Dylan Harper had 4 fouls. So the fouls was a killer for the Spurs last night in a 2-point loss. If they didn't commit any of these silly fouls, they would have won it. And the 3-point shooting did not go down at all. The Spurs, Victor Wembanyama 0 for 8 from downtown. He only scored 11 points. De'Aaron Fox, only 10 points, 5 for 14 from the field, 0 for 4 from downtown. So for Wembanyama and Fox combined, 0 for 12 from 3, 10 for 31 shooting, only 21 combined points between Fox and Wembanyama. The Wolves' defense did a good job, including Jaden Daniels and Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert did a good job. He's having a very good postseason. Even though he didn't win the Defensive Player of the Year, he's having the best defense. He's been the best defensive player in the playoffs. That's why they're winning. The reason why they're 5-2 this postseason, Rudy Gobert's defense has been active. That's why he's a three-time He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's won in 18, 19, 21, and 24. 3 of those were in the Utah uniform and 1 with Minnesota. So that's also first time in history he's becoming a Defensive Player of the Year in 2 different uniforms. But even though it's in the same conference, if it's a different conference, it would have been different. So we talk about Minnesota defense, expect to be outstanding from here on out. For San Antonio, it's a tough loss. This is the second loss in the playoffs. Both have gone down to the wire, and both were at home. So far, the Spurs are 2-2 at home in the playoffs. So, how concerned are the San Antonio Spurs having played in front of their home fans? How concerned? Well, to me, I'm not really concerned. I think they can bounce back. How they can bounce back on Wednesday to avoid 0-2 start. They need Victor Wembanyama to get going. That's all. And De'Aaron Fox. If it doesn't happen at any point in this series, their series is over. I don't think San Antonio is going to win the series. If San Antonio does get past Minnesota, I won't say easily, because this could be a 7-game series between San Antonio and Minnesota. It's not going to matter. Remember last year, Denver and Oklahoma City took 7 games, and Oklahoma they won it. They won in 7 games. Remember, they lost game 1 1 year ago today. 1 year ago today, Thunder lost game 1 of the semifinals of the West against the Denver Nuggets, when the Nuggets came back and won it, with Aaron Gordon's game-winning 3-pointer made in Oklahoma City. But since then, Oklahoma won in 7 games. That's all that matters. They still managed to win the series against a championship-experiencing Nuggets team. And now you're facing Minnesota. They got a bunch of experience. Wolves are experienced. They haven't reached the finals. That's too understanding. The Spurs are a younger team. De'Aaron Fox is the only player has playoff experience. He was with the Sacramento. He was former. He was a former Sacramento Kings. He got into the playoffs in 2023 season, 2022-23 season. He was coached by Mike Brown, the Sacramento Kings. But they almost knocked off the Warriors in the first round. They ended up losing in 7 games, which is pretty good. The Kings actually fought really well. They were up 2-0. They just couldn't pull off a series win against these experienced Warriors team. There's no questions asked. But I think the Wolves are going to do something. They're going to do some damage about that at this point on. So the Wolves with a shocking Game 1 win, 104-102 over the San Antonio Spurs. All right, let's switch gears. Let's recap last night's Eastern Conference semifinals. The series began in New York. The New York Knicks. The game was close after 1, but since then the Knicks exploded rest of the game, and they blow out the 76ers 137-98. Jalen Brunson led the way with 35 points. Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges have 17 points apiece. OG Anunoby had 18 points, 7 for 8 from the field, 2 for 2 from downtown. As the Knicks go 1-0 in the best of 7 Eastern Conference semifinals. So here's my question. Are the Knicks dominance of the postseason continues? The Knicks dominance wins continues, or the 76ers, they just look bleak after they pull off a Game 7 win against the Celtics? Well, I'm going to start on the right. I'm going to start on the left side first. The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks continue to dominate. They're 5-2 this postseason. All 5 wins have been decided by at least. Hold on. All 5 wins for the Knicks are decided by at least 11 points. So all 5 wins decided by at least 11 points or more. In 2 losses, they decided by the grand total of 2 points. They lost by 1 point against the Hawks in each of those 2 games. If you cancel those 2 losses, they could have been 5-1. Or maybe 5-1, 6-1 in the playoffs. They could have been maybe 5-1 in the playoffs if it wasn't for these 2 losses. But they're 5-2 in the playoffs. That's insane. You got all the wins of this is decided by 11 or more points. The 2 losses they decided by the grand total of 2 points. That doesn't make any sense. If the Knicks do win a championship, this could be the weirdest in NBA history to win a title and you only lost 2 games decided by the grand total of 2 points. The Knicks only played just 2 clutch games in the playoffs, and they lost both of those. But those are the games you should have won. But now all 5 wins have been either scored by 11 points or more. As I'm saying, that the New York Knicks, they deserve to go to the finals despite the 2 postseason losses. They're 5-2 in the playoffs. I don't care about that. The New York Knicks shot 63% from the field, 51% from downtown. And they forced 1976ers turnovers. And you just been talking about so many teams they can dominate you here at home or otherwise. So you don't want to do that, right? I do want to do that. The Knicks, they're going to the conference finals once again, but they don't know who their opponent is. If you face Detroit, they should get them to them this time because they're 0-3 against them. If it's Cleveland, you won 2 out of 3. So that would have made sense. Thank God you don't have to face the Celtics in the second round. He's like, thank you, sorry, sir. You face the Knicks. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, the 76ers, um, it was a rusty loss. They come off a huge Game 7 win, but last night they looked really, really rusty. Paul George did lead the way with 17 points of Philadelphia, but Philadelphia got blown out in Game 1. No surprise. It's really tough to get through that. So, it's about it. It's about your pride because of that. So, let's see what the New York Knicks does so in time here. Okay, so let's move on to that. Today, Game 1 of the semifinals. Let's start with the East. It will be the number 4 Cleveland Cavaliers take on number 1 Detroit Pistons. The game is in Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Both teams come off winning in 7 games in the first round, including Detroit came back from 3-1 first round series deficit against the Magic. Cavaliers come off a Sunday Game 7 win against the Raptors. So tonight we got the Cavaliers at the Pistons. Best of 7 East semis. So let's start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. How Donovan Mitchell can get over this hump. Donovan Mitchell is 0-4 in second round playoffs in his career. This is his 5th semifinals of his career. Cade Cunningham his first with Detroit. James Harden has been in semifinals, and he's won more times. He's won 2 more times. He's won twice. I believe he's won twice. Harden got to the conference finals, I believe, 2 times of his career. 3 times. No, he's been to the conference finals a grand total of 3 times in his career. It would change. Hold on. So James Harden and Donovan Mitchell has to perform at a high level in this series. The Cavaliers are 0-3 on the road in the playoffs against Detroit. Detroit Pistons has not won a Game 1 game. So last time the Pistons have won in Game 1 was 2008 semifinals. Since then, the Pistons on a 7-game one losing streak. So how Cleveland Cavaliers can make it an 8-game losing streak on Detroit Pistons? They need to get off to a good start on the road. They had a couple of chances to win on the road, but they lost 2 of those close games. And now they need to make one good mistake behind it and make sure you get that thing done because of that. Meanwhile, for Detroit, they come off a 3-1 comeback series win. Now, Cade Cunningham has to perform even a higher level in this series against a talented Cavs team. Detroit has got to get there. It's going to be critical. These guys have a chance to put this thing off, and that's going to be a better chance right now here. Who do you think would like to win game 1 of this semifinals, Pistons or the Cavs? I like Detroit winning game 1, but who would like to win this series? I like the Pistons in 6. I like Pistons in 6 games. I think it's going to be critical to say this in this one here. All right, next one, we got the Lakers and the Thunder, 4 versus 1 matchup. 4 is the Lakers, 1 is the Thunder. Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals between the Thunder and the Lakers. So the Lakers on the road play the Thunder. Thunder swept the Lakers in 4 games. In multiple convincing fashions. The Thunder is the best team in the NBA. I think the Thunder is clearly unstoppable to come out of the West and win it all. Even without Jalen Williams for a while, SGA is absolutely unstoppable, either in the regular season or in the playoffs. And then you got Chet Holmgren. He could be an X factor. Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso. He's a champion. He's a 2-time champion himself. Then you got Jalen Williams. And then you got a handful of guys could really step up for the Oklahoma City Thunder. For the Los Angeles Lakers, how the Lakers can stop the Thunder, how they can stop SGA. You don't have Luka Doncic in this series, so that's going to be tough. Who's the X factor for the Lakers defense to try to take this series from defending NBA champ of the Thunder? To me, is Austin Reeves. He's got to lock it down on defense. And then the other X factor I can bring is Marcus Smart. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year. I think Marcus Smart makes sense. Marcus Smart has to guard SGA in this series. I think Marcus Smart will be the X factor for the Lakers in this series on defense. So how they can stop it. If you stop SGA really well, you got yourself, you can easily, I would say easily win the series. The series can go 7 games. Easily, this series can hardly go 7 games if that's going to be the case. So, and LeBron James has to perform at a high level. It's LeBron versus SGA. LeBron James is going to be, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a 4-time NBA champion. It's soon to be 5 if you can win the next 3 rounds. So if you can get past the Thunder, maybe past San Antonio, and past the 3 main contenders of the East, like New York, Cleveland, or Detroit, then you got yourself a shot to win their 18th title in their franchise history. But that's not even the case. You didn't want to do that. The Los Angeles Lakers, they need to find a way just to win out and take this series. Game 1 is so important. The Thunder has not been the Thunder has been okay in the semifinals these last two trips. Thunder lost to the Mavericks in 6 games in 2024. Thunder snuck out the Nuggets in 7 games, and they end up winning a championship. And now you're facing the Lakers team. They want reputation. Lakers did beat the Rockets in 6 games. That's the last time they played. It was last Friday. Thunder swept the Suns in 4 games in the Western Conference first round. So that's the last time these two have played. Thunder hasn't played since last Monday. Last time the Lakers have played was last Friday against Houston. So let's see who comes up top here. But who comes up top tonight in Game 1, Lakers or Thunder? I like OKC winning Game 1. Who do I like to win this series? I picked the Thunder in 5. I think Thunder wins in 5 games. So it's going to be a 5-game series for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This will be that. All right, tomorrow episode, I'll recap from tonight's Game 1 between the Cavaliers and the Pistons tomorrow, and also to recap Thunder and the Lakers. And I'll preview Game 2 of the semifinals between the 76ers at the Knicks, the Timberwolves, and the Spurs. I'll preview that tomorrow. And then, to be determined, I will give all some of the details if there's any other breaking news or otherwise. All right, so I want to talk to. So this will be it right now. All right. All right, that's good enough. This is JDB's Morning Cap. We'll be back at it tomorrow. And hopefully you enjoy your day.